we made. Mary has never gotten in the sink before.
That we know of.
Well, yeah, that we know. Maybe she thinks this is the best place to hide from the dog. She seems to enjoy it. Hi guys, I am on my way to Bible study, and also gonna make a stop to pick up some boxes from U-Haul. We're still looking at, we're planning on the move thing, and we're still, there's some job opportunity things that could be opening up here. So we're just kind of moving forward with that. We're not packing the house, like packing it to move. We're actually just packing. You know how like when you stage a house, we've sold what? This is our 5th house, I think it is. So when you're moving, you want to stage the house so that a person coming to look at it can envision themselves living there instead of being so overwhelmed by everything that looks like the family that lives there now. And so you kind of declutter some of your decor and stuff like that. So we're packing up stuff like that, which is why I'm gonna pick up some boxes today. Let's see, we're moving along on, we still have a few weeks before the memorial service for my dad. I'm almost finished with the slideshow, waiting on a few photos that my niece-in-law has. My brother, a couple years ago, my brother took my dad out to see my nephew in California, my nephew and his family, and they were in San Diego, and it was, so they have some pictures from that, and I want to add those to the slideshow. And then I think I'll have a really nice slideshow from the time my dad was a baby all the way through to the end. And, it just, as I look at this slideshow, and I cry pretty much every time I watch it, but it just, just realized how much my dad, he was a lot of things. He was successful. He was a pilot in the Air Force. He was a businessman. He traveled the world, but he loved his family, And what did my brother say to me the other day in a text? He said he was the best dad. What did he say? He was the best dad ever. His family was his life and love, which was just the sweetest. And that's what this slideshow shows. Interesting thing that John is totally serious about going as vegan as possible, but really seriously vegetarian. He's not ready to give up cheese, but he is ready to get rid of eggs and meat. I mean, he even threw away some lunch meat yesterday, and was talking about giving away some, some of the grass-fed beef and stuff that we have, and it's all because of what he's finding out about what feeds cancer cells. His coworker who was his age, was diagnosed with prostate cancer. The doctor had said to him, we can treat your prostate cancer, but it's going to mess up your life. So it would mess up his, relations, and in peeing and stuff like that too. And so he said the best thing to do with prostate cancer, it's slow growing, is to just change your diet, so you're not eating things that feed cancer cells. And so, chances are you can go for a really long time without having to do anything about it. So John's thinking, he starts thinking about the fact that he's probably at risk for cancer. He's got his mom, who currently has cancer, her brother had prostate cancer, and her father died of brain cancer. And so he was just kind of like, I think I need to be serious about this. So he's totally into, he's having oats for breakfast, oats and fruit, and his big old salad for lunch, and he's eating hummus and vegetables for snacks and all this kind of stuff, which is really good for me because it motivates me. I'm not thinking, heck, whatever, let's just have pizza. I'm really thinking he's serious about this, and so I want to be serious about eating plant-based, and so it's nice to know that I don't have an out for it because he really wants to eat this way. And so I think what we're probably going to be is plant-based, leaning over sometimes toward vegetarian, and rarely, rarely eating meat. And I said, really, are you serious? You're not even on cheat days or cheat meals, you're not going to have meat? And he was like, well, if I do, it'll be fish. And I'm like, well, why not just, you wouldn't one day a week have meat? He was like, no, it's not. And so he's actually even talked to, there are some more doctors that he's talked to who are vegan, and definitely started out by giving up eggs, which are supposed to be really bad for feeding cancer cells. And apparently, I need to do some more research on this, but they've given up eggs and meat, and then eventually went vegan and gave up dairy too. And I think that John's thinking, I don't know that I'll ever completely give up dairy, but maybe that will be part of the thing that I have, only 1 or 2 days a week. So it's interesting to hear him be so serious about this, because he just is never, he'll put on some weight around his midsection, but you would never look at John and say that he's fat, ever. And so he could lose, there are certain times in his life where he could lose some weight, but you would never look at him and say, yeah, he's a chubby guy, he needs to lose some weight. Never. But so he can eat the way he eats, which in the past has been kind of crappy, and he doesn't exercise, and especially now because he's got nerve pain from that ankle accident injury that he had, and so he doesn't exercise. And so all of a sudden to have him like take interest in his health is just crazy, but I'm happy to see it. So that's kind of fun. So one of the things I am doing today is stopping at Sprouts and just picking up some stuff to make, just some things to have around to make it easier to eat plant-based. And yeah, just picking up some stuff that will be good for us to have around the house. I have stuff for dinners. I just need some stuff that's like, just go-to things to have for breakfast and lunch. So you may have seen me, I don't know if you thought this was my shirt, but I have a brace on my arm, and that's just from, believe it or not, it's a wrist brace, but it's for tennis elbow, and I don't play tennis. But my arm has been kind of cramping in my forearm recently, and even waking me up in the night, sleeping, and I was like, what in the heck? And so I was icing it and taking anti-inflammatories, and it just seemed to be getting worse. And then my elbow started to hurt a little bit, so I went over to the ortho place where John used to work, and they, did a couple of things and said, like, don't let me push your hand down, and I'm trying to hold it out, and I about came out of my skin. They said, yeah, it's tennis elbow. So essentially the problem is that, like, I'll pick up heavy grocery bags, like this instead of like this, and then most recently Monica, I scoop her up, because like if I get her out of her crate in the morning and she needs to go potty, if she runs off, then she'll probably potty someplace else. So I scoop her up in my arm, and I think that over the last couple of months of having her, and she's getting heavier, she's almost 11 pounds now, I think that has been the thing that just set me over the edge with it. And so they gave me a steroid shot in my elbow, told me to wear this brace for a couple of weeks, just to, because there's some movement that the wrist can make that, like if my wrist is turning and, flexing, it puts pressure on the tendon. And so this is just, I don't have to wear the brace all the time, but it offers support to the area, keeps me from doing things that irritate the tendon. I didn't wear it when I slept, and it was the first time in weeks that I did not wake up in the middle of the night from my arm cramping, and so that was really good. The steroid shot is already working. So the steroid shot calms down the inflammation that's in there, and then she gave me some stretching exercises and some strength exercises to do just to kind of keep this from happening. She did say, though, she has tennis elbow, and she said, this is something you'll probably deal with, you know, on and off for the rest of your life. And she said, but you can avoid it by picking things up correctly. And so she was talking about like lifting bags this way, like I'm doing a bicep curl instead of, you know, just from the front. Or even my purse, you know how if your purse is on the ground, you pick it up, you know, that motion you do? Well, you have to turn it the other way, like you're gonna pick it up, like to do a bicep curl. And that is the better movement for tennis elbow. So anyway, so that was a good thing to take care of. And then my foot, I am thinking that it's not a stress fracture anymore. I'm thinking maybe it's like this thing called a neuroma, which is like a little, I don't know, something that grows on the nerve and causes problems. And I don't know. It's just that I've done everything. I've stayed off my foot for 2 months now, and I wear either a boot or stiff shoes, and I still have this thing. So when I was there at the ortho place, they were able to set me up with a doctor's appointment for next week, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of that, because we are, well, okay, if we move to Phoenix, it's not the time to start walking because it's gonna be hotter than hell down there. But if we move to Flagstaff, it will be the time to start walking a lot. And so I want to be able to do that. So here it is, March, and I would like to, you know, take care of this thing. If it's gonna involve a little surgery kind of a thing, I would rather get that done now so that I can start walking in June. So that's kind of how it goes. That's what's going on. I am, as much as I am sad and I grieve every day, I get teary or sometimes just sob a little bit every day over my dad. But there is a definite weight that's been lifted, you know, because I've probably said this before. Gosh, weird sun angle. I probably said this before, but there was always this feeling of, how much worse is this going to get? Is the place where my dad currently is going to be able to take care of him, or are we gonna have to move him someplace else? And he was aware enough of things, of his surroundings and who we were and all that kind of stuff, that he would notice. You know, it wouldn't be like, you know, you move him from one place to another and he's just staring at the wall anyway. No, my dad knew where he was, and so you know, we're just like, oh, we don't want to have to move him to something that seems really sterile, like a hospital, and how awful to spend. And we didn't know how long he was going to live either, and so there was so much stress and anxiety that went along with all of that, and it was just like this huge weight. And so as I miss my father, but I also, since I've been doing the slideshow, realize that the dad I grew up with, the dad I knew for most of my life, I lost that father probably 10 years ago. And I loved my old guy father. I loved him, and I grieved for him for the first several days. I missed that guy. But as much, and so I've been grieving my dad, but I am not grieving the loss of all of that stress and worry and everything. I was on antidepressants, and like the highest amount I could be on. And so I actually started to, well, a couple weeks ago, right after my dad's death, I cut my dose in half, because you have to wean off of it. I cut my dose in half, and then now I'm on, with the half dose, now I'm weaning myself off to like every other day, and then I'll go to just a couple a week, and then, you know, one a week, and then you're off. So you don't want to do that too quickly. But yeah, so I'm getting off of that because, you know, the whole reason I was on it was because of all of this worry, and so we're not there now with that. So it's very interesting feeling, very interesting. We're going down to Phoenix on Saturday. Monica gets her last parvo shot on Saturday morning, so she'll be free to be around other dogs, and we're going down to Phoenix to see John's mom. We haven't seen her since she found out that she only has 6 months to live. They called hospice in. She's still doing pretty well though. She's not having any issues at the moment. But I think they said that like when it happens pretty quickly. So she'll probably have a few good months and then it'll probably go pretty fast from there. But anyway, so we're going down and bringing Monica. My mother-in-law really wants to see Monica. She's been talking about her a lot. And then we're going to take Monica over to John's brother's house and introduce her to their dogs. We figure it would be best for Monica to meet them while she's still a puppy, because most adult dogs tolerate puppies, even if they're annoyed by them. They tolerate puppies, and we don't want to wait too long for Monica to get more grown up. I mean, you know, she's not going to be a year until November, but we just thought it would work out better. So, okay, blah, blah, blah. That's the end for now.
How big Monica is. She used to just get swallowed up in that bed, and now she's getting so big. Huh, baby? Yeah. You're so cute.
Gentle. Good girls. Good girls.
Hi, Bucky. Hello, Bucky. How you doing?
Please go.
You're not invited to this party.
You're wagging your tail. I'm surprised they don't have back problems. No, they don't. Yeah, they do. They just lay shit in their room. You've got a good back because they're so long. You've got a good back. Well, that back. They have a chair. Yes, it's really not just. Alright.
Hey, 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 hey.
You can. Okay, you love her real quickly. Yes, thank you. Okay. We were watching snow in the last.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Far north. Or far south.
Jeff, I did.
You know she's gonna be completely soggy.
Actually, I didn't think about that, but yes.
You may have to
Just
watch.
get a towel. Wipe it down. Oh, did I stop?
Yeah. Oh, she'll tell you. She's very pushy. She give you the nose?
It's interesting, the color on her.
Oh, she's gonna bite her collar now.
I love the brindle. Yeah.